We are live.
Okay, this is the community services meeting for June 3rd. I know it's video recorded, so the only one who doesn't have a video feed is Hugh Knight, who also is joining us. Homer, Mr. Kempe, do you have a preference as to who goes first?
No, it doesn't matter. I can go first if you want. I don't have a whole lot.
Yeah, Ed, Joe.
Go ahead.
All right. The first thing on the memo, CT Consultants, the grant application for MRF funds. Really nothing new to add. We were hoping to hear about the result, but we still haven't heard that. For the application, we haven't heard yet. So it's probably something to do with the coronavirus, but I'm hoping we hear next month or so. The 2020 street program, really nothing new to add. They're working, it's going well. So everything's going pretty well, especially with the school closed. It allowed us to get into that area pretty quick. Next is we have a new hire. We stole a guy from Michael, his permanent part-timer, Dwayne Bird. He's been promoted from the part-time position at the rec center to the full-time position with the Public Works Parks Division. That's just filling the vacant position resulting from Robert Craig not making his probationary period. So Dwayne started as a full-time employee this past Monday. The Main Street Culvert Bridge Project, Jim, John Creech, and myself, we had reviewed RFPs from Tetra Tech and CT Consultants to design, bid, manage this project. Tetra Tech was chosen to be the most qualified company. They are in the current process of compiling a fee proposal for the city's consideration. And just so people know which project we're talking about, that is the there's going to be some modifications to the Creek Road Dam, removing the culverts that currently run under Sharon Road, Main Street, add an open stream and a bridge over the stream from Main Street, well, basically from Weiss Carver onto where Main and Sharon meet. And then the other thing I didn't put in here was, I'm sure everybody's aware, we had a large rainfall 2 weeks ago. A lot of flooding in Sharonville. Probably the worst flooding I've seen since starting with Sharonville. We had 5.5 inches of rain in a day and a half, which is obviously going to prone the city to flooding. The Mill Creek was 4 feet over flood stage for most of the day. Once the rain quit, however, the Mill Creek dropped pretty quickly, which allowed us to do some fairly quick cleanup to get the roads back open again. So we were fortunate in that aspect. However, the majority of the day, the businesses, particularly along Mosteller, Sharon, Kemper, and Crescentville Road, they got hit pretty hard. So, but it's just, that's one of those 100-year rainfalls that seem to come like every 5 years now. So not much we can do about it. That's all I have.
You
guys got
anybody got any questions for Joe?
Just to add one thing, if I can. So I'm hoping that we will be at council on the 16th to have an agreement with Tetra Tech. They still have to give us a fee proposal, and the reason for that is, per FEMA rules, we could only review the request for qualifications first, and then once we chose a company, we had to start negotiating with them to see if we could come up with an agreement. And then if we can't, we go to our second choice and on down the line. So hopefully that'll be in front of council on the 16th.
So FEMA rules don't allow cost before you find.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you as part of the RFQ, we could not ask for what their fee proposal was. just like we could not just select Stantec because, in fact, Stantec was not able to submit anything because in FEMA's eyes, that would give them an unfair advantage since they helped us with the application. So we're learning a lot through the FEMA process.
One question I had from a resident on the Kemper Road stuff. I know, Jim, I reached out to you. I didn't know if there was any update as to timeline on the Kemper Road path.
I think and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, the CT's consultants' report had construction starting about this time next year, if I remember right. But I could be wrong. I don't have that report in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure the final design is completed yet. I think they're still in the process of completing the final design before they can move forward. Then you've got right-of-way acquisitions and stuff like that. So,
but they are talking. They are talking to the property owners have been sent letters and all that about the negotiations. So,
Sue, Shaq, you got it, Joe?
I'm good. Yeah, I just want to say thanks for his crew for what they did during that storm. It was great. And I have a picture. I don't have anybody else, but I have my own picture. So I don't know if I'm on there or not. So probably not. I am so bad. I'm so sorry. Anyway, no, I just wanted him to tell the guys they did a great job. I mean, that was a hell of a lot of rain to help clean up because when I came down, when we were out and about, it looked like they did a really nice job. So he just pass that on to his crew.
I will do that.
Okay.
Shaq, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yep.
All right. Mr. Blomer, you're up. It's been a busy month for you. I know.
Yeah, I don't have anything to report. Any questions? Hey, Josh, am I allowed to share my screen?
From the web browser, I'm not sure if you can or not.
I see a share screen option. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to share my Microsoft Word. Never mind. I'll just go through it. I got it printed out here. Okay. So some of the current updates, we know we've obviously opened up the tennis courts. We've had minimal players to start. It's not been very popular, not been very crowded, but we have had some. Some of the diehards have definitely been coming through and playing. We did have the request and we've had multiple requests now for pickleball lines being added. Aaron is currently working on getting an updated quote on that. Unfortunately, he had a death in his family. His father-in-law, who he was very close with, passed very suddenly. So he's been out with that. And once I get more information from him, I'll follow up with you guys and give you some details just to kind of put that into perspective. I came to you, I want to say a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago, and brought to you a request for people from some of the pickleball players to install some lines. And at that time, you guys told me that you felt the amount of indoor pickleball we had was adequate. As we slowly get back into gymnasiums opening and things like that, which ours hasn't opened yet, obviously, people are right now hungry for pickleball as they are typically. So we've had a handful of requests to continue looking into that, and I've let them know we're working on it. But as soon as I get details on the pricing and some of the logistics on that, I'll present that to you guys as soon as I can. Kemper baseball and softball fields reopened May 26th. Those have been going well. They've been following the rules pretty closely. There is a multitude of baseball and softball rules. I know that they were recently relaxed. Getting some feedback, I think. Oh, somebody dropped. Might have been Sue. Anyway, they recently relaxed some of the rules. Like at first you couldn't chew gum or chew seeds, and now you can. So that's been obviously changed. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I feel like
I'm
New
on,
again.
so yay, it's here for me.
Okay, hey, Sue. Good job. So baseball and softball has been moving forward. Their first games are this weekend. They're actually playing games Friday, Saturday, and they're trying to get some games in on Sunday. So with the weather being as good as it's been lately, I know we're supposed to get some rain tonight, but I feel pretty confident that they'll be able to start their games in. Their set schedule is much shortened than it usually is, but they are moving forward, and we provided them with some signage to kind of yard sign type stuff on stakes to help with social distancing. There's some signage for the dugout areas that say coaches and players only. There's some signage that says please stay off the infield. So there's some signage that they're using from us. I know that they've printed out some additional signage from ODH as well. So they're in a good spot. They're in a real good spot right now to get things fired back up. Fitness Track front desk, we reopened that on Monday. I knock on wood every time I say this, but that thing has gone silky smooth. We put a ton of thought, a ton of effort into our plan, and it's a good plan. People have followed it pretty well, and we haven't had a whole lot of pushback. But things have gone well. Our online registration has gone well. Most folks that come in the door are wearing masks. It is not required. We do have a sign at the door that kind of outlays what they're going to expect, because a lot of folks have received either a phone call from us, have received an email from us, have received most of them have seen our posts. We've been very active on social media, and a lot of them have seen our website. So most people understand when they come to the door what to expect. We do have those folks that I guess live under a rock and just kind of randomly show up in hopes that we're open and have no clue what to expect. So that's been pretty good. As far as temperature scans go, that's been working really well. Our staff's been great with that. We have had 2 folks that did come in over 100.4. And when they kind of refuted oh well, I was out in the sun, I was in my car, and essentially what we do is we ask them to kind of go out into a shady area in the parking lot or a shady area on the sidewalk, distance themselves, and if they feel that the scan wasn't correct because they were in a sunny spot or a hot car, then we give them the opportunity to cool down and come back. And we still have had 2 people that still failed that 100.4. One gentleman actually came back and his temperature was 0.1 degree warmer. So those folks, unfortunately, were turned away. Cleaning periods are going well. We're getting better at them. And what that means is that once we get more of our facility open, we'll be able to kind of institute the same plan, same strategy that we have for fitness and track in other areas. So we're getting more efficient. Things are getting better and better and better. Some interesting numbers that I thought as of 3 p.m. today, and this is based on online registration. So when you can essentially, we keep our schedule online. So you can either create a login, go online and pick your spot. You can call in and our staff can help you pick your spot manually on that online website over the phone, or you can come to the door, and if there's space on the slot or on the time slot, if we only have 6 people and we're allowing 12 and you're a member, then yeah, you can come on in. We scan your temperature, we scan your card, and you have at it. So to date, from June 1 until 3 p.m. today, we had 372 spots that were available to be used. Only 140 of them, and this is fitness specific. This is only for the fitness center. So 372 were available, 140 have been used. So not great, but we definitely had a slow start. We have had some slots both in fitness center and track where nobody has showed up and the building is completely empty. As far as track goes, again, 372 slots were available between 6 a.m. June 1st and 3 p.m. today. We've only had 49 people come to use the track. So it's definitely been a slow start. And again, we have had multiple 0 slots where folks have not come at all. So be interested to see if that increases. I hope it will.
Michael,
Aquatics has been,
there's been times though that the fitness center, even before COVID, only had 1 or 2 people, in it at a
Sure.
time. So is it the hours that you typically see people that aren't being used, or?
no, because we tend to get a lot of folks that come in the evening after work, and we've not recaptured that crowd yet. That's not been our peak time now has been between 7 a.m. and like 10 a.m. And after that, it kind of trickles. We do have a little bit of a spike in the evening, 6, 7, but between that 4 and 6, where we were seeing a lot of folks come in after school, after work, that's not rebounded the way we were hoping, the way we expected it to. We expected that to be a prime time for people to come back, but we've not seen that one yet. So
Are you gonna post about that on Facebook, saying, "Hey, we have all these availabilities," or?
yeah, we're trying to get as much information out there as we can. I think we're gonna dip back into that when the pool opens. Right now, a lot of our information we're focusing on is the aquatic center, because we're really trying to paint the picture of what to expect when they come to the pool, because that one's going to look a lot different than it has. So we're perfecting, I guess, people coming back, and then we're really going to push for, hey, did you know? Hey, did you know we had this many spots at this time? That kind of stuff. So we're getting there. We're tiptoeing in. We're dipping our toes in. So the aquatic center opens Monday. Now, this is a different story. The aquatic center online registration has been insane. When you come through the gate, obviously we're going to have tons of signage. We're going to have signage pretty much lined up down the sidewalk, because we're having 80 people per session. We want to make sure that when they come in for that 2 hours, they get as much of that time as they can, because we anticipate people lining up prior to when it begins. And as soon as that 10:30 a.m. or 1 p.m. session begins, we want to get people in the door quickly so they can find their seat and let their kids swim. They can get every ounce of swimming time that they can. So we're trying our best to, again, paint that picture of what to expect, so people don't come on that first day and not have a clue of what to do. Announcements, a lot of our announcements while the pool is open over the loudspeaker, we're trying to key in on those too, so we know how often to make those announcements. But also we need to make sure we safely get people in the pool and quickly, but also get them out, because we can't clean your chair, or we can't clean the bathroom, or we can't clean the handrails if people are still walking out and using them. So at this point, the last 15 minutes of the 2 hour period will be adult swim. We will make those announcements, and that's an effort to get folks moving to the door, because we do know we've got a mom or a dad that'll come in with 3, 4, 6 kids. And it takes them a little bit longer to kind of get moving. And we're not going to shoo anybody out the door. But that next group of 80 people is really depending on that mom with 6 kids to get out so we can clean, so that the next 80 can get in on time. So that's what we're really trying to work on, and that's going to take some time to perfect as well. SwimSafe has a great plan. We're very happy with it. Things are going really well. In terms of Hamilton County Public Health, they are not doing pre-season inspections this year. I was very, very surprised by that, but they are so overwhelmed by all of the stuff that they're doing now with COVID that they had each municipality essentially submit their plan. Ours was submitted by SwimSafe, and plans were approved. Ours were obviously approved, and they're going to be doing a mid-season or a early season kind of pop-in inspection, and they're just going to hope that you're holding to what you told them that you would do, and also holding to what the state has put out. So we're very familiar with our inspector, Ana Rojas. So we feel very confident that our plan is going to be great, and that we'll be in compliance all summer long. Online registration, as I said, has been extremely popular. We started registering folks on Monday. On Monday and Tuesday, folks were allowed to go online, and they were allowed to pick one slot for next week. Any of the 7 days next week, they're allowed to pick 1 2-hour slot. Yesterday we did, Monday and Tuesday combined, we did 484 registrations. Monday, in the first 4 minutes, we did over 100. Today was the day when the floodgates opened and people were allowed to register for any additional spots that were remaining. And they were, still only allowed to pick 1 day per week, or one slot per day. Today, in the first, I think it was the first 15 minutes, we did 412. So we have done a tremendous amount of pool reservations. Next week, all told, between June 8th and June 14th, we've got 2,240 spots available. Already 1,246 of them have been reserved. That was as of 3 o'clock today. So it's been very popular. It's interesting to see because if you look at the weather ahead, you'll know that there's a couple of days next week where they're predicting rain. So folks are avoiding those days. The most popular time slot right now has been 1 to 3, so that after lunch. But if you're an early morning swimmer, that 10:30 to 12:30 time has not seen a tremendous amount of signups. So that could be a really good time for folks to come in and swim with a lesser crowd. So we're really proud of how that's going. Gorman, the playground installation is happening now. With all the rain we got, we were set back 2 weeks. At this point, the delay doesn't matter because playgrounds haven't reopened. We've not seen anything. We've had questions constantly from a handful of folks if the playgrounds have had the ability to reopen yet. We rely on ODH and HCPH to give us those details, and we've received nothing that tells us that we can't open them. So we constantly are checking, we're constantly listening, because we want to get Gower Tower and the new Gorman playground open as soon as possible. The new Gorman playground is going to be beautiful. It is really, really nice. I say that because I kind of designed a little bit of it myself, so I'm really proud of it, and I'm anxious to get it open. Community engagement, we're still going on Facebook and doing a lot of our posts. I can tell you that our programmers right now are gearing a lot of content coming up to kids. We know that summer camp is closed. I know that there's been a ton of programs closed. A lot of activities and things have been canceled. There's no Kings Island. There's no zoo yet. There's nothing like that. So we're trying to find things that parents can do with their kids, or that kids can do maybe without their parents. One of the things we're working on, and working with the police, is we know that there's going to be a lot of kids this summer that are either staying home for the first time or babysitting a sibling for the first time. So we're going to work with Dana from the police department and put together some like a video series that kids can watch with just like tips and tricks and things like that of what to do, what not to do when you're home alone, how to care for your little brother or sister and not beat them up when you're watching them. So things like that we think can add value to people and make a resident feel more confident in leaving their 12-year-old home this summer for a few hours. It's not a replacement for camp. It's not a virtual camp. It's just something to kind of help with some, pointers so that those kids can be as safe as they can during the day if they are home alone or if they are watching a sibling for the first time. That's pretty much all I got. We've been pushing our message as hard as we can, and we've received quite a bit of feedback, a couple nice emails from area directors, one from Forest Park, one from Mason, who I was especially proud of that one, that have kind of given us some kudos, which our staff is really focused on making sure everybody has a good experience. And when we hear those kind words, when folks come into the building, they say, wow, I really appreciate your guys' attention to detail. That means a lot to us because we spent a lot of time on getting this ready, and we put a lot into it. So things are going good so far. We just need more people to come back.
I have a couple
what I got.
questions. Mike.
Yeah.
Number one, the reason why nobody's coming at those after work hours is because they're not working. They're still at home, so maybe
Could be.
they have to watch the kids. Also, I don't know. The last time I was at Kroger's. Now, when you're cleaning, what solution are you going to use to clean those chairs with? Like a Clorox and water? Because
So
that.
SwimSafe has
Oh, okay.
SwimSafe has a machine. It's called a Wash or Wise Wash, and it's a machine that hooks up to a hose, and it has a chemical in it, a disinfectant chemical that adds to the water as you're spraying it, and it is electrostatic, so it actually bonds onto the surface that you're spraying, and it takes, I think, like 10 seconds to dry, and it's completely CDC recognized as a best practice on how to clean that. They'll use that on all the handrails. They'll use that on all the seats, all the chairs, all the tables, all the surfaces that are within the pool. They'll use that. And now we'll also have spray bottles with the CDC recognized disinfectants in the desk area, for the countertops there and the gate and stuff like that. The bathrooms will get those treatments as well. But yeah, it's called I'll
Okay.
send you the link.
No, that's fine. If you've been to Kroger's, it's deteriorating all their carts. I mean, the Kroger on the handle, it's gone. They're gross. I don't even like to get a cart anymore because they're so saturated with that Clorox water. I just don't want anything to happen to our chairs.
Well,
that's one less expense we'd have to.
One of the things that they've told us is that the continued cleaning of our surfaces do have regardless of if they're using that machine or the disinfectant cleaner, does have the ability to wear them much faster than normal. It breaks my heart every hour when we're cleaning the front desk countertops, because that thing's only like 6 months old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, just be careful. The new fitness equipment, same thing. Be careful, please. Just So we're being very mindful of that, and SwimSafe will be mindful of that too, because we don't want to go replacing 100 chairs next year or something silly like that. So
I have like two more questions. I had a couple questions from some citizens. One was, are we doing anything for 4th of July, or is it totally canceled?
So we know that we're not allowed to have a gathering through July 1. We're looking into the idea of inviting people to decorate their businesses or decorate their porches, but we are not doing any type of gathering, downtown or otherwise.
Her suggestion was, can we maybe have a parade of cars that are decorated and go around the loop? That was her suggestion. I said I'd check into it for her. So
I don't know that we'd be willing to put together any type of gathering like that.
Okay.
At this time. But I can't stop, obviously, a resident from doing that.
Oh no, she just thought just to do something, because we always have such a great 4th of July, and she says she's really sad that it won't be anything going on. So
I'm bummed that but if they loosen things up, I'm hopeful that we can have something like Labor Day, another patriotic type celebration. That's our goal.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That's all I have. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Mike, is it safe to say the reason that we didn't open on 26th and implement that reservation system?
The reservation system was a big piece of it. That was a large undertaking to get that system built and to get it operational, and to also give people a little bit of a ahead of a time notice of picking a slot, but also what to expect when they come.
As far as the tennis courts, pickleball stuff, I don't know if you're aware of this, but my residence is basically, the tennis courts are in my backyard. I haven't seen the lack of use that I don't know if it's yourself or Aaron are reporting. How are you guys monitoring that?
How are we monitoring the usage?
Correct.
So obviously, I have staff that kind of report back to me on a regular basis on what they're seeing. But the tennis courts we've never had a formal way of monitoring or tracking usage, tracking numbers. We don't have one now. So we base a lot of our information on, hey, what have we seen today? What's been going on? We talk to our maintenance guys, and a lot of it is word of mouth. So there is no formal reporting. The usage that you see, are you seeing a lot of folks in the evening, nighttime?
Yeah, because that's when I'm home. I mean, my tracking would be anecdotal as well. I don't I don't formally track how many people are using the tennis court in my backyard, but I have the opposite feeling that you expressed, whereas you expressed that the feeling is that it's not being used. I completely feel the opposite way. I think since the tennis court's open, that they're being utilized in a significant way. I'm opposed to laying down pickleball stuff at the tennis courts. I know we asked for pricing on other areas, and I still feel that way based on the use that I'm seeing at the tennis courts currently.
That's good to hear that you're seeing a higher usage, because that's not what I've heard. But I'm glad to hear that, because I was hopeful that we'd get a lot of our tennis players to return. So that's good.
Another question I had from a resident, and I know this doesn't have anything to do with our decision making, but does anybody have any word from state elected officials or state notices that I've missed on when playgrounds can reopen?
Nothing.
I haven't heard anything either. So
I listen to the governor daily when he's on. We comb through details on HCPH situation. We also are tied in with Ohio Parks and Recreation, and they put out bulletins every few days with major updates that are kind of geared towards us. And that's the one thing that everybody right now is struggling with, is not only playgrounds, but outdoor spaces in general, shelters, outdoor restrooms, those passive, but also could be considered active areas, right? Those are some of the biggest issues that a lot of folks across the state are having. And I think the problem is you've got playgrounds like the rec center playground, like Gower Tower, which is right across the street from our building that's staffed. But you've also got areas of the county or the state or parks where they've got playgrounds where nobody is near them. So keeping them clean is a near impossibility. So it's really, really tough to think of what they're going to try and do for playgrounds, because we've seen playground information come out in terms of childcare facilities and how they're doing it. And essentially what they do is in between each usage of a group of children, it has to be cleaned. So a group of 9 kids goes and plays on it, and then it has to be cleaned top down. I don't know how you could do that with Gower Tower. I don't know how you could do that with other playgrounds in other communities where it's just there's a playground in a park and there's no ranger, there's nobody stationed there. But I'm hopeful that we'll get something soon. I'm hopeful for a miracle, because it breaks my heart seeing yellow tape around that nice playground. And especially with Gorman. With Gorman Park, I can't. I hate the idea of opening up a park and it's still having tape on it. So,
right,
stinks. Jim, have you heard anything differently regarding parks or anything like that?
I do the same, get the same updates, and there's been nothing about playgrounds. But I do have a question, Michael, about Gorman or Gower. I'm sorry, I always mix up the two. What's the status of the addition of the fence by the sidewalk?
I'll have to get back to you on that one. We kind of started focusing our efforts on a bunch of other things with maintenance and with reopening. So that was kind of put on a back burner from my standpoint. So I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. And just so the committee knows, I don't know if we shared this with them, but we thought there were some safety issues since all the clearing of brush was removed. So we were just going to extend the fence we put in a couple of years ago by the playground up a little bit farther up toward what road is that? Concerto.
Hey, Mike, I don't
Yeah.
know if you can say that this is not the appropriate forum if so, but I heard you mention some complaints that you'd been getting. Is there a running theme, or can you get into that at all?
Absolutely.
Feel free to say so.
No, because the complaints have all had a common theme, very common. We've only received one complaint from a resident, and her complaint was that temperature scanning was an invasion of privacy. She felt as if she did not feel comfortable coming back, so we offered to refund her membership, and that refund ended up being about $6. So we were happy to do that to make her feel comfortable. So again, we've had one resident complaint. The multitude of other complaints we've received are from non-residents, and they're frustrated with us because we are not allowing new non-resident memberships. So we've had
It's
a handful of phone calls.
Probably because their communities chose not to open their pools.
That's almost exactly why. And we've given them information of, facilities that might be allowing non-residents. Most of them are YMCAs. And those are a lot of times cost prohibitive because they're so expensive. But yeah, we've just told folks that if we're able to raise our capacity, we're able to possibly, look at allowing non-residents. And that's kind of been where it's at. Everybody else has understood the reasons that we've done it. And the members have also understood that we are not doing guests. They get the reason why, because of our reduced capacity. But yeah, we've had a handful of non-residents that have been very upset with us because we are not offering new non-resident memberships.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. When you were talking, you say Gower Tower, are we going to have a name for the new playground in Gorman, or maybe have a naming contest or something that could keep people involved?
That's a good idea.
Gower Tower, and then, maybe Gorman, something where some of the kids can get involved and name the new playground, and maybe at our whenever it gets open, and maybe at the Labor Day thing, maybe have you submit it till then, and then we'll have our winner at our little thing we're doing on Labor Day if we do it.
Sure. Yeah, we're still going to add signage to that playground. So and we're not that far down the road with that, so we can definitely include that as a fun little thing for the community, and that name could be added to the signage when we do install it. That's a good idea, Sue.
Shaq, you got anything to add?
I just want to ask and reiterate, because since we haven't heard anything about the other things like picnics and all that, right now that's all prohibited, right?
Yeah, so we've actually just recently contacted all of our shelter rentals through the month of June with the governor's new order. I guess it's ODH's new order saying that gatherings over 10 are prohibited. So there was quite a few shelter rentals that we had to refund. So, but no, we've not heard anything additional for that, but it's a bummer. So,
Mike, how many folks at the fitness center or track, if have had to been turned away because they didn't make a reservation, B, there were no slots in the time?
0.
All right.
We've not had one slot fill up yet for fitness or track. We've had the most we've gotten with pre-registration plus walk-in is 12. Oh, I'm sorry, 11. So we've not had one slot where we've gotten to that 12 number with people walking in. I was expecting to have more walk-ins. We've not had as many. But we get folks that drive by and they don't know if we're open. And we say, yeah, we're open. If you want to walk, come on in. We've got spots available. So they come in and they walk, and then when they come in and they've not realized how we're doing it, we have a printout that explains everything in detail. A one-pager they can smack on their fridge. And we've found that now those folks that have those information are calling and saying, hi, I'd like to schedule my appointment for next week. So the call-ins have definitely increased. Our phone rings off the hook. But yeah, we've not turned anybody away. The only 2 people we've turned away is because their temperature was above 100.4.
Michael, how are you using your digital sign now? Have you updated it to have any new information or?
Yeah, so we have the information on there telling folks that we're open. The problem with the sign is you can't get too detailed regarding all the bullet points that are on that one pager. So we direct them to the website, we direct them to the Facebook for the information, or we direct them to call us. That's the easiest way, is to just call us and we can explain it real quick over the phone. But yeah, for the most part, we've got all of our information on there for when it reopens, or if it already has reopened. And that's our message right now, just to get people back in the door. That's been our main message.
So then one thing, not related necessarily to you, but overall we saw during the Facebook push, Sharon Fest is obviously canceled for this year. And
yeah,
yeah, more insight.
The Sharon Fest committee. Yeah, absolutely. The Sharon Fest committee did decide to cancel, and we were waiting until June 1st to make the decision. We decided that as a group that June 1st would be, kind of the last time where we could make the call and still go, because there's a lot of things that have to be purchased in advance. There's a lot of deposits that come due about 60 days out, and we weren't willing to, make those heavy commitments, not knowing if the order was going to be extended past July 1. So when the order got extended, I think it was May 29th, everybody kind of took a step back and said, that makes us feel uneasy. If they had not extended that, we would definitely be having a different conversation, but it was unanimous after everyone saw that.
Mhm.
So unfortunate. It's a bummer.
Anybody have anything else before we adjourn?
No, I'm good. Sorry about the delay.
That's right.
All righty. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see you at the next council meeting. Thanks, Mike and Joe. Have a good one.
See ya.
Good night.
Good night. See you.